Okay, and we are live. So hello again. Welcome to another Red Cloud webinar. My name is Kobe Kushner, and I'm a mining analyst here at Red Cloud. I'm excited today because we'll be talking about gold. And, you know, with so much attention to lithium these days, it's nice to get back to my roots here. So with us, we're joined by James and Darren of MAS Gold Corp. Before we get started, I'll give us a brief overview of what's been happening in the gold market. So as of this webinar, gold price is hovering around $1,760 an ounce. It's come down from its $2,000 highs that we saw last March, but it's generally been hovering around 1,800 level over the last year. I think if we take a broader view, gold is looking pretty attractive. While it's down about 3% year to date, it's actually up in most other currencies. We think there's a big tug of war going on with the dollar and interest rates and inflation. Gold historically is actually more negatively correlated with the US dollar than it is positively correlated to CPI. The US dollar, as measured by the DXY, is up 11% year to date. So the fact that gold really hasn't moved much says something, especially considering that other asset classes have fallen much more. The S&P 500 is down about 10% year to date. Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum, are both down 50% year to date, which is funny considering that some people thought crypto would replace gold as the de facto safe haven asset. One way investors get leverage to gold is by investing in gold miners. The Junior Gold Index, the GDXJ, is down 21% year to date, despite gold prices staying rather flat. So in our universe, we've noticed trading multiples, PNAVs, EV per resource ratios take a big hit. Sentiment is tough, but for contrarian investors who like to buy when there's blood on the streets, it might be a good time to load up on some of their favorite gold miners and explorers. So during today's webinar, we're going to learn about MAS Gold. James and Darren will give us an overview and an outlook, and perhaps they'll tell us why now is a good time to consider investing in MAS. And when they're done the presentation, we'll move on to the Q&A session. And just a reminder, you can type your questions into the comment box at any time. As always, we have to run through the fine print. So during today's webinar, forward-looking statements may be made. I would direct listeners to the forward-looking statements outlined on the company's corporate deck, which we will see soon. For Red Cloud Securities, Inc., I would highlight that this webinar is for information purposes only. It should not be considered a solicitation or a recommendation to buy or sell securities. We note that this call does not consider the particular situation or needs of individual investors. Participants should rely on their own investigation and seek their own professional advice before investing. Please see our most recent research located at redcloudresearch.com for specific disclosures on MAS Gold. All right, big breath. And with that, I'll now turn it over to the MAS Gold team.
Thanks, Kobe, and welcome everybody. MAS Gold, we're based in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Our properties are in the northern part of the province, all from Ronge and north. And MAS Gold is a company that was started by Ron Nedlitsky back in 2010. It was known as Massapera at the time. And here's our list of directors. Ron Nedlitsky is a Mining Hall of Famer. He's responsible for the discovery of SK Creek, Snip, and Brewery Creek, and has developed a huge following over the years with his credibility that of what he's done. Bob Matthews is the former and current CFO director, and he's the chairman of our audit committee. He's also a former officer of Macmillan Bloedel. Rod Spooner, another one of Ron's longtime followers. He's a geologist, lives in the Ronge Greenstone Belt area, right in the heart of our properties. And Rod is just an excellent director to keep everybody alive and helps out with our geological work very often. Steve Goldman is the director that has joined us recently as a result of our acquisition of Comstock. And Steve is a lawyer based in Toronto and a very welcomed addition to the board of directors. Myself, I am the CEO and a director of the corporation, and I come to the company in January of 21. My background has been in banking and in public mining companies. The most notable I've been involved in with Great West Minerals Group, I still sit on several boards and are quite enjoying the opportunity to work with Ron Netolitsky and part of his team. It's been kind of a dream of mine. So all in all, we have a very strong board. And here's our management team. Again, myself, Darren, who is on the call here with us. He's our chief geologist via Axiom Group. And the Axiom Group provide a tremendous amount of capabilities and technology and provide us with the expertise that we need to develop the Ronge Greenstone Belt. Lori Thomas just joined us recently in March of this year. She comes to us with an extensive experience in IR, traditionally in the uranium sector, where she used to be the investor relations manager for Cameco for 12 years, but saw the light and wanted to get involved with gold. And we're just so happy to have her on our team here as of March. Karen Frisky is our CFO and corporate secretary, and we're all based in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. When I joined in January 21, it was a virtual office with a lot of the people in Vancouver, but the focus of our properties and everything, I felt it important that we establish our beachhead right in Saskatoon, and gives a much stronger position in taking the company to reach our objectives. So along with the board, and as I mentioned, Darren comes to us with the Axiom Group, and that provides a tremendous amount of support. They have over 100 people and manage all our drill programs and exploration. Can North, a very critical part of our team as well. They're a consulting, environmental consulting group owned by the Katsaki Management Company, which is the industrial arm, business arm of the Lac La Ronge Indian Band, which is the indigenous group that we deal with where our properties are located. So where has gold gone? Well, Cody's done a great job in explaining that, so I'm not going to belabor the point here. We believe that there is upside in gold before year end, but even at today's prices, if any deposit isn't economical, then they probably shouldn't be looking at it right now. One of the important parts here is where we're located geographically. We're in Saskatchewan. We're right in the middle of Saskatchewan. It looks like people somewhere in northern Saskatchewan, but Saskatchewan's a big province. And one of the great things about it is that we're ranked in the top jurisdiction, and one of the top jurisdictions in the world. And part of the reason for that is because of the resource-rich province it is. The northern part of the province, the yellow part of the slide there, shows where all of the uranium deposits are, the richest deposits in the world there, very, very high grade. The pink at lower to the bottom is the richest and most reserves of potash in the world, as well as oil and gas, more recently helium, and agriculture products. And one of the things about that, unfortunately, and thanks to Mr. Putin in a negative way to what he's doing to the Ukrainian people, but all of these commodities that are directly affecting the Russia-Ukraine war is having a significant positive impact on the province of Saskatchewan and making it a very wealthy province going forward, and will be for a long time. So where are we right now, and what is our game plan? Well, our game plan originally back in 2010, when Ron started the company, was to consolidate this region along the road here north of La Ronge. And all our properties are within a stone's throw of this particular area. We have 84,000 acres, about 34,000 hectares of property in the gold part here. We own 4 properties, actually I guess 5, but we're only going to be talking about 3 of them or 4 of them for the most part today. The Greywacke property is located right here, which is just north of Missinippi in Saskatchewan. The North Lake deposit is just south of Missinippi, but this is the area where we've been focusing on and developing our hub and spoke model. It's where we've recently acquired Contact Lake, we recently acquired Preview Southwest, and we've previously owned Point Deposit here, and that's going to be the focus of our topic here. But these properties here are a result of a lot of exploration that took place from the 60s and 70s. And prior to the turn of the century, there was many properties with a lot of gold, some in production, but the ones that had got into production, for the most part, have shut down. The only producing gold mine in Saskatchewan, as we speak here today, is the CB Santoy mine that was started by Claude Resources. I happened to be fortunate enough to be working with Claude Resources at the time as one of their directors, and was there for the first brick pour in '92, when we started with 400,000 ounces in reserves. Since then, the company, which is now owned by SSR, have produced almost, I guess as of 2000, over 1.5 million ounces, and still has a resource of over 1 million ounces, and producing at the rate of 120,000 a year. But that's what this was, why it was so exciting for Ron. He knew this area, he knew the opportunity that was there. He knew that the historical ounces that were there and were shut in prior to 2000, which the price of gold was sub 300, and the idea was to consolidate them and get them back on track, and that's really what MAS Gold has been focusing on. So, as of the most recent area here, you can see where Comstock properties were, right here in the highlighted area. We acquired that property in, closed the transaction actually in March of this year, started it last year. We've also bought the former producing Contact Lake mine from the government. Cameco used to have that in production, shut it down in '96, I believe it was. Pardon me for a second, folks. And our Greywacke property that we have up here. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the ounces and things that we have. But this was our focus. This is where we were working on. We also own another property up here called Henry Lake. It's a small gold project, but it's out of the economic zone of our hub and spoke models down here. And we also own Elizabeth Lake, which is a very good asset. It's a copper silver project that we're doing a small amount of work on. So our model, though, for the most part right now that we're focusing on, and this is really what we'll be talking about for the most part today, it's our hub and spoke model. North Lake, it hosts a 500,000 ounces of 0.85 grams per ton open pitable operation potential, and that'll be the hub. The spokes are these deposits around here. We believe that Contact Lake, the former producing gold mine that Cameco had, will be one of the primary spokes. The last acquisition we did, Preview Southwest from Comstock, will be also one of the primary spokes. Contact Lake has no resource that we can talk about at this point, but one of our focuses for this fall is to bring some of that back into play, either through an updated 43-101 and or some drilling that Darren would like to do. And he'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Preview Southwest, we acquired that. By the way, what we paid for Contact Lake was a $165,000 bond we posted with the government of Saskatchewan, as when Cameco had it in production, shut it in, reclaimed it all, did an excellent job of doing that, and turned the property back to the province. And Ron happened to be in the right place at the right time a few years ago and started that process. And we finished that off last year by acquiring it for a $165,000 bond, which we had to post to continue the monitoring of the tailings, which is in excellent shape. And so really unbelievable price that we have. And by the time we get some resources on our balance sheet from there, it's going to be a very small cost per ounce on our balance sheet. Preview Southwest, they had 420,000 ounces, slightly averaging below 2 grams a ton, but a lot of high grade opportunity. And there's other areas of the Preview Southwest property. When Cameco owned Contact Lake, they also own Preview Southwest, and their plans were to drift over to the Preview Southwest deposits and mine there as well. But when they got sidetracked or the price of gold had dropped down, they got sidetracked in Kyrgyzstan, where they got into a very large gold operation, the Kumtar mine. And as a result, this became an opportunity. Comstock acquired it, did some work on it. We subsequently have acquired it from them. And that's what we did. And also the Point deposit we've owned now for some time, and it has historical drilling. We have an internal resource on there, but nothing that we can talk about externally at the moment. And we've done some drilling on that, and hopefully we'll be able to bring some resource in there. Our objective in 2021 was to reach 1 million ounces. We reached that, a little over the 1 million ounces. Our objective in 2022 is to hit the 1.5 million ounces. And we believe with an updated resource on Preview Southwest, on North Lake, and what we're going to do on Contact, we will be very close, if not past that. And that will be a significant milestone for us. So again, in a little more context of the properties that I've been talking about, North Lake here, this is a road, the red and white line through is the highway that goes right past all of the properties. It's all within a stone's throw virtually. Contact Lake is 10 kilometers in. Preview Southwest is a couple more kilometers. But North Lake deposit is where the Millhead the site would be quite likely located. And the Contact Lake mine to the North Lake deposit, like I say, is about 12 kilometers. So we've got all of the infrastructure here. Power line goes right over the our core shack actually at North Lake from the south up from Ronge, and that is certainly the opportunity that we have there. So great infrastructure. This gives you a little bit of information. Our Greywacke deposit, it's like 40 kilometers from North Lake. It hosts 155,000 ounces of gold, averaging 4.9. There's a high-grade zone in there of 9 grams, about 80,000 ounces, I believe, that has some potential as well. The metallurgy is excellent, and the gravity separation is also excellent. And that results all come from a bulk sample that was done in 2013. So that's one of the things that also gives us a lot of encouragement about the commingling of our other deposits with North Lake with the hub and spoke model. The metallurgy is excellent, and so we think we've got most of the makings of a terrific opportunity there. This is the actual site of the Contact Lake mine where they recovered it. There used to be a mill there that was completely sold and removed, and it gives you a little bit of information on the history. When I said in Preview Southwest, the resource that was calculated of 420,000 ounces, it was done on a report in 2016. Subsequent to that report, there's been 3 other programs, one in 2017, 18, 2 programs, and one that we just finished. And have just started a new resource calculation, incorporating those results into it. So we're hoping for certainly a significant bump in our resource here. We're also hoping for a significant bump or a reasonable bump in North Lake from our drill program. And Darren's going to talk a little bit more about that and what actually happened there. But here's the drawing of the Contact Lake underground mine. And Darren, I'm going to turn this over to you to explain what the opportunity is here and what we're looking at for Contact Lake in the near future.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, as you can see, this is an image of the underground development. The very top image is a plan view of the mine site. The middle image is the exploration drilling and their mineralized intercepts. And the bottom image is obviously the drawing of the mine. So what we know is when they are mining, they bypass at least 5 stopes in the middle of the mine that they did not mine, and they also bypassed a stope that was located under Contact Lake. So what we know is these can be opened up and remined. What we need to do moving forward is to calculate the amount of ounces remaining, and then also include all the missing ounces that were drilled off below the mine during production. So that's what we're trying to do going forward, and hopefully we can come up with a resource this fall is kind of our goal coming up. The next slide is of the North Lake deposit, and I'm just going to go right into this. So we did a lot of drilling this winter. We did, I think we did 34 holes. All the holes in yellow, or all the collars in yellow are new drill collars. All the blue dots are older previous drill collars. On the left is a projection of our ore body in red, and on the right is a section through A to A prime. So if you don't know much about North Lake, it's a bulk tonnage, low grade deposit. We have very wide intercepts, over 100 meters of about 1 gram per ton gold. And the nice thing about North Lake is still open to depth, and we had some really good hits to the south. If you read our latest press release on the results. So still lots of potential here. It's located outside of the park, ideal spot for our hub as we move forward. I can turn it back over to you, Jim, now.
So in 2021, we had several targets and objectives that we wanted to accomplish, and they're outlined here, one of which was the 1 million ounces. We did achieve that. We completed everything that we had set out to do for 2021. 2022, our objectives are here. And again, we've got most of them ticked off. We're starting on the fall program, and we're going to be updating the 43-101 on those on North Lake and on Preview Southwest. And we will have that resource estimate sometime in Q4 with a little break. It could still be September sometime. We continue to look for ongoing target and acquisitions for the hub and spoke model in our area. But there's also a bigger picture here called the Greenstone Belt, which is the properties around the Jolu Mill further north. There's an opportunity, we believe, there that may come up in the not too distant future. And if in fact it does, we will be very interested in that, because ownership of that would give us complete control of the whole belt. And one of the significant things that we haven't mentioned here is all those properties that were drilled off pre-2000. None of them, for the most part, had drilled any holes below 300 meters. So the opportunity for Blue Sky, and when I talk about the only producing mine out there at the CB Santoy that SSR are operating, they shut the CB mine down at a little over a mile and then just moved a couple miles to the south to the Santoy and started there. So we know that the gold goes deeper in at least on that particular property. And so the opportunity for Blue Sky is very significant deeper. And same thing with Contact Lake. When they shut it down, the zone that they shut it down is still open at depth. So we're really excited about trying to find what and put a few holes in that particular property. This gives you a little bit of a Gantt chart of where we're at for 2022. And one of the other things that's really important, and I mentioned it earlier, we deal with the Lac La Ronge band. It's the only band in the area that we do deal with. They've got a tremendous workforce. They were very excited to hear that Contact Lake mine has an opportunity to come back into production, as they provided a lot of the workforce for Cameco at the time when that happened. But also for the whole area, it's an exceptionally exciting opportunity. And as I mentioned, we do work with their environmental team, who do an excellent job for us, and pretty well most of the mining companies in northern Saskatchewan. So great opportunity to work with the community up there. and develop something in the longer term. From our capital structure, we've got 200 million shares outstanding, approximately, and another 80 million in warrants and options. Our market cap is sitting at around the 14 million, I guess, range at 7 cents, which we think is extremely undervalued based on that. This slide just gives you a little bit of a picture of our share distribution, but we have a very strong ownership from insiders. Our largest single shareholder is EROS. It's Ron Netolitsky, who happens to be the chairman of that company as well. And there is a lot of other followings here. So one of the things that we do have is a ownership from inside and supporters that range in the 50 to 60% range. Comstock, I shouldn't have said EROS was the largest. Comstock actually is. So there's between those two is 24%. But one of the slides that we look at to try and figure out what we're valued at or what we think we should be valued at is using the value of our market cap versus ounces in the ground. And right now we're valued at, we're showing 11. I think we're now up at 7 cents. We're at 14 million. The markets typically, we believe, should be in the $30 to $50 range per ounce in the ground, depending on a lot of positive things. How far developed? What is your infrastructure? How many ounces do you have, etc. So there's many factors that come into that range that I talk about, but our target right now is to get the market cap moved up to where we believe it should be. The world knows that the markets are soft right now, but we're hoping to change that a little bit by a focused effort here over the next 3 months. And here's good reasons why we think MAS Gold is a really terrific opportunity at the present time. We have a strong management and board position, shareholders, strong shareholder group. We have great potential projects within our hub and spoke model. It's in the Ronge Greenstone Belt area, one of the premium places to do mining in the world. We have a solid operational setting with 33,000 hectares, mid to near term production horizons, and a jurisdiction, again, that's very socially responsible that we're operating within. And we've got a solid track record of achieving what we said we're going to do. So with that, I will say thank you and look forward to any questions that you may have.
Great. Well, guys, great. So, yeah, thanks for the very informative presentation. And, as you said, we'll now start with the Q&A portion of the webinar. Just a reminder to everyone on the line that you can type your questions into the chat box at any point. So we do have some questions, some of which you might have already answered during your presentation, but it never hurts to reiterate the key points. So let's try to start from the top and work our way down. You mentioned that the company was founded in 2010. That's over a decade ago. So how has the strategy since then shifted, and what was done over the past 12 years? And I understand, James, you only joined in 2021.
No, my knowledge of the area goes back quite a ways. Like I mentioned, I had dealt with the CV Santoy when it was Claude Resources, but over the past number of years, part of the reason our share price has languished over the years was we were caught in a legal situation with a joint venture partner called Golden Band Resources on our joint properties that were joint ventured. They weren't participating. I'll make a long story short here. They weren't participating. That was challenged by Ron and the team. And in April of 2021, a court ruling gave us full control of our properties, 100% ownership. Up until then, there was question mark. Do we own 50% or do we own 100? So the only thing that was left with Golden Band, they ended up with an NSR for $1 million that can be bought out anytime. But the dream and the focus was a result of Ron's vision of this trans-Hudson origin property that is located, sorry, the Ronge Belt is located within that. It starts really down in the Homestake area in the United States and comes all the way up through into the Hudson Bay area. And that's extremely similar to the same structure that's in Africa, where they have a prolific gold producing area. And it was Ron's view that this is the same thing. And for the most part, it's all been proven. So in some ways, we never describe ourselves too much as an exploration company, more of an acquisition company and developing those assets that already have been proven.
Okay, so that's some good color there, you know, and I'm a big fan of Ron Netolitzky. He's had such incredible success in the Golden Triangle, and, you know, he's an all-around legend in the space. I'm seeing his face on some other Saskatchewan explorers too, and it looks like these days he's more interested in Saskatchewan than he perhaps is in BC. So now I know you can't speak for him necessarily, but why do you think he's kind of pivoted? Do you think it's more the the political risk in Saskatchewan compared to BC, or do you think it's purely geological and has to do with its Trans-Hudson corridor?
I think it's more geological, as he graduated from Edmonton out of high school and worked for the Saskatchewan government. That would be quite a few years ago. I'm not going to say how many, but it was quite a few years ago. And he always felt back then there was a huge opportunity. So he always had his finger in the properties here in Saskatchewan. And when he seen what had happened with the number of projects that was there, in that Ronge Belt, there is historically about 3 million ounces that are still in the ground that didn't disappear because they were shut down. And the price of gold has gone up about 6-7 times since then. So that's really why he looked at that and wanted to get involved in it more.
Right. Okay. So, and with all exploration companies, you know, you can have the world's best asset, but if it's in the hands of a management team that doesn't deliver, then the value of that asset may never be unlocked. So, James, you know, you touched on some of your past wins, and you spoke about how your team has unlocked value at some of your other projects that you've worked on. So, you know, how do you plan to recreate some of that success, and what do you think you'd do differently this time around?
Well, I think focusing on your strategic plan, setting your goals and achieving them annually is what you want to do, and we've been doing that. And I think our plan is to continue to do that. Our plan is, pardon me, to get to that 1.5 million, 2 million ounces, and we will work on finalizing our PEA report for next year. That then will give us a clear path as to what we need to do. There's other opportunities in the area, like I've explained, and to make a few more acquisitions north of ourselves would give us complete control. Right now, we control 50% of the belt, and it just makes a lot of synergy to have it all with what could be created with it all.
Are you able to tell us who it is that controls, you know, the other 50%, or at least some of the players there?
It's
okay, great. So, Darren, now you're the guy with boots on the ground. It's the geologists that actually find the gold. So, you know, I'm curious, what kind of geo are you? Are you, do you have a specialty?
I've been basically focused in Saskatchewan almost my entire career. I did a little bit of work in BC, but I started actually in the Ronge Greenstone Belt. Then I moved into uranium for a few years, and now I'm back in the Ronge Greenstone Belt. So this is where almost all my experience has been anyway. And so I know everyone in the area, everyone kind of knows me, contractors, local services, anyone. So I think that gives us a little bit of advantage when we're trying to work in the area, especially when I need to work with government and local bands and whatever else is going on. So I think that gives us a slight edge in that area. As for my geological knowledge, yeah, I basically focused in gold and uranium my entire career. So this is kind of what I know.
Great. Yeah, no, I imagine it's helpful. Just the fact that I think you're a Saskatoon local, right? And
yeah,
being near the actual projects that you operate. So
yeah, our projects are only a couple hours away, so I can just go up there to check on them at any point in time, closely manage programs when they go on. So yeah, it's pretty easy when you're really close to them.
So with the exception of maybe Elizabeth Lake, what kind of deposits are you after? Are these your typical orogenic greenstone hosted gold deposits that, maybe we see in Timmins and Red Lake and the Abitibi, and or are you after something a little bit different here?
For the most part, Preview Southwest, our Point deposit, and North Lake are all sheeted quartz vein orogenic style. Well, some of them are a little more questionable, but mostly they're orogenic gold deposits. North Lake's a little more question what that is. Greywacke is an outlier. It is a meta sediment gold hosted deposit. So that one is a lot more difficult to compare to other deposits in the area. There's almost no gold deposits like Greywacke in the entire world. So that's probably the most interesting one out of all of them.
Okay, cool. So I don't know who's more equipped to answer this one, but James, you've got good experience with Claude and the CB mine, and my understanding is that when that was first explored, it was a very narrow outcropping vein, but then when they drilled it off, they found that it really blew out at depth. So, across your project portfolio, are there any targets in particular that, maybe haven't really been tested yet, and you think that they have that kind of potential to blow out?
I'll probably let Darren answer that, but generally speaking, just from the observation of the properties and knowledge of some of the work that's been done on, I used to be involved in the Jasper one as well. And that was when Cameco had that in production as a joint venture with the name just forgot for a second, but we had it in joint venture with Cameco, and that was shut down after it produced about 30,000 ounces, I believe. We know there was a deeper zone that should have been explored and looked at. So I think the opportunity exists in both those areas, in the northern part of the belt as well as in our southern area where our ownership is right at the moment. And I think our last drill program kind of showed some of that potential. But I'll let Darren comment on it as well.
Yeah, pretty much almost all of our deposits are open at depth. The drill is just getting pretty deep, and usually get to that point, you start drilling from either the bottom of the pit or underground if you start mining. So we can just to make the drilling. Preview Southwest, North Lake, and Greywacke all have a resource on them. Obviously, Preview Southwest is a historical resource, so we want to update that with MAS Gold's information. And then we can tie all those deposits hopefully together into a hub and spoke model.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, speaking of drilling, you guys had some good success at North Lake last year. You hit nice grades in hole 101. So relative to, the center of, at least where you believe the deposit is right now, where was this hole drilled? And do you plan to expand in this direction?
Sorry, can you repeat which hole? I just missed though.
I believe that was that was this year, NL 22101.
Oh yes, at North Lake. Yes, that was the one. That was our farthest southern hole located on that deposit. And And we would like to follow it up. I don't know if we're going to follow up this winter, but it does need some holes around to expand on that high grade intersection, because it kind of shows a change in our mineralization a bit. We go from the rest of the deposits, lower grade bulk tonnage, and also we get this narrow high grade intercept. So we basically need to do look into the data a little bit deeper and see what's changing with the deposit, and see if it's changing to the south. So we are going to follow up with that at some point. I'd say it's not quite priority. We kind of, North Lake has a big, already has a resource. We kind of want to focus on our contact lake, Preview Southwest, and Point to hopefully get those, get resources for those first. And then we can go back and look at this and expand on that location, maybe this winter or next summer. But it's not, we'll do work in there soon enough. Maybe not immediately, but we want to go back there too.
Okay, and while we're on the topic of North Lake, we'll get to the drilling and your upcoming drill plans in a bit. But you also did some channel sampling at North Lake. So what did that channel sampling tell you? And the area in which you conducted this channel sampling, are you going to be drilling there?
I can't comment on the drilling yet. We haven't got assays back from that yet, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is so at North Lake, all our mineralization's hosted in what we call a fell site. And we were able to locate this fell site up to 500 meters north of our current deposit. And we did channel sampling on a few lines crossing the deposit. And hopefully those will come back with good assays. If those return good assays, we'll definitely want to drill, because we could potentially expand our deposit up to 500 meters if those assays return really good values. So that's the hope. We still have to wait on assays though before we make any firm decisions on what we're going to do up there.
Right. Okay. And, in terms of what you guys have budgeted for this winter, how many holes do you guys expect to poke, or at least what kind of meterage are you looking at? And really, what's the breakdown by target?
Right now,
I can answer that.
Yeah, okay.
Or if you want to answer, you can.
No, okay, go ahead, Darren. No, sure, go ahead.
We don't have a finalized budget. I know what meterage I want, but our big target would be Contact Lake. There's a few big areas at Preview Southwest I want to hit up, and Point would be the three main ones I would hit up this winter. And we'll see what I can do with. Well, it depends what we actually finalize as a budget, but those are the targets I want to hit up.
And I'll add to that a little bit. The focus on determining what some of that drill will be, Kobe, is that our overall picture there is to have North Lake as being the millhead where we could potentially produce 100,000 ounces of gold would be the ideal number for us. So what do we have to do to get there? So right now we got 0.85 at North Lake. So the focus is going to be to find out what we have at Contact, what we have at Preview Southwest, to get that millhead upgraded to probably 2+ grams, which we think with that and 5,000 ton a day, you could get to 100,000 ounces. But that's some of the things that when we get to the PEA report in 2023, that information will flow, and hopefully we'll be able to determine that. Maybe Greywacke will be a part of all that as well, and it certainly could be with what we have at Greywacke. So there's some determining factors in how all that comes together, and that's the key part of what we're going to be looking at over the next 12 months.
And you speak of the PEA in 2023 and
do the acquisition of Contact and Comstock. We shut it down after we acquired Contact and Comstock because we knew it was going to form a big part of what the hub and spoke model was going to be about. But the PEA that we started was with Greywacke and North Lake. So we've got some information internally at this point. But the big picture will determine what Contact and Comstock Preview Southwest properties can bring to the table. And we're very excited, quite frankly, about what we think we got there.
Okay. And, at Contact Lake, what kind of data are you currently missing that you need to put out a new resource? Do you have the 3D mine models? Do you have the historic core and the historic drill data? And if so, can you use it?
Well, Darren, answer
We
that.
we're currently digitizing the mine at the moment. We have all the paper copies, we're just digitizing it. And we have all the historical exploration drilling. So once we get all that actually digitized, we can hopefully get a resource off that. And then what we're going to do moving forward is expand on the resource with drilling. So I think we can get a resource based on the information we have this fall, and then hopefully in the winter we can expand on it and maybe even upgrade it too at the same time. So that's our near-term plans for Contact Lake and what's happening.
Okay, so now thinking longer term here, is your goal to really go into production yourself, or is the goal to sell this off to a company that you think is more capable of doing it? Not to say you guys aren't capable of doing it. I understand you've done it in the past here. I'm just trying to gauge.
Yeah, no, I think the whatever the decision is, what we do will be no different with either decision, because we will continue to take it forwards to the point where we could put it into production. And we do have the capacity to do that with our network and resources that we do have. Ideally, the preference probably would be to partner with somebody at some point, but we will have the capacity to take it and or sell it off or partner. So we do have a few options, and we'll explore anything that makes good sense and good value for our shareholders. But we don't want to do that prematurely until we can prove up more what we have there and what it really does look like economically.
Right. Okay. So yeah, the reason I asked that is because I've seen, and I'm sure you guys have seen it too, where companies put out these technical reports, these economic studies that they really use it as more of marketing material rather than a preliminary blueprint to building a mine. And when it comes time to finally go into production, they might struggle.
Yeah.
So it's encouraging to see that you guys are actually taking an approach as if you might actually be building it yourself.
Well, when we look at it, there were mines in production there pre-2000 at 250, 300 an ounce, and with the price of gold up 6-7 times that, the economics got to be there with any kind of proper management in execution. So I think it's a really, well, I just think it's a terrific opportunity, and I think we'll look at anything that makes good sense, though.
And is there anything else going on in the background, perhaps at the corporate front, or at the asset level, that you didn't get to touch on in the presentation that you think is worth mentioning?
A good question, and I kind of think maybe we covered it, but probably 5 minutes after we hang up, I'll say, "Oh yeah, I probably should." But Darren, anything you can think of that we didn't cover off?
No, I think we covered a lot of what's happening, even with the questions you just answered, of what we're doing in the near future and kind of our overall plan moving forward. So I think I have nothing really to add at the moment.
So maybe just remind us.
My phone number is on the presentation, so if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to give me a shout, or Laurie or Darren, and we'll gladly spend some time with you on the answer of it.
So maybe just remind us now, what's your approximate market cap? How much cash do you have?
Our market cap today at 7 cents is 14 million. We have a working capital of about 250 to 300,000 at the moment. We will be doing, depending on what program Darren gets approved with us at the board level, probably this fall will be a minimal a budget, and perhaps a little bit of a bigger one in the winter of 23. So that's really where we're at. And we get the final drill targets established and the resource calculations in, we will be looking to raise a few dollars to complete the 2022 out. Yeah.
Okay. So, I look at a company like this, I see you have over 1 million ounces, right? So an enterprise value of an EV per ounce, metric of under $14. So, it's attractive, especially when you consider that ounces that are delineated near infrastructure are worth more than ounces delineated in the middle of nowhere. So with that said, are there plans now to kind of increase your marketing and raise the overall profile of the company and get more eyes on this name?
Yes, in fact, it's just in the process of starting. We will have an updated website here within the next couple weeks that is, I think, a lot more interactive and provide a lot more information. And we're going to continue to have our marketing programs, our webinars, working with Red Cloud and a couple other companies. So obviously, it is a priority of ours to get it to the level that we think it deserves to be. And hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be working off 1.5 million ounces. So that's really what we want to see, is get it to a proper multiple of our ounces on the balance sheet.
Right. Okay. That's a great place to leave it. But I'll ask one more question. Which upcoming catalysts do you think are key to drive the biggest re-rating over the coming year?
Well, I think if we can achieve the 1.5 million ounces and get a proper model that shows that we have the potential to get to 100,000 ounce production on the southern part of what we own in that area, that would be, I think, a strong catalyst. Another strong catalyst would be the opportunity to acquire a significant asset that would fit within what our model is there.
Right. Okay. And with that, I think that's a good place to end it. So, gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. It's been a pleasure hosting you both.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, of course, looking forward to the next one. So, and to our viewers, if you want to learn our thoughts on MAS Gold, as well as some of the other companies that we watch, we do publish all of our research on our website. It's free of charge to make an account. Reminder that our next webinar will take place tomorrow. Dave Talbot will be sitting down with Foremost Lithium. So again, that's tomorrow, August 18th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day.